Welcome to the Upstate CFO Council. This organization was founded in 2019 by Robert Bendetti in order to provide a networking and educational forum for senior financial executives to share best practices, to discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their job.
Garrett, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Robert. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much for agreeing to join us and do this member interview.
I think it's fun. I love the idea. I've enjoyed the interviews I've seen so far. It's great.
Well, I took some notes and I found just a little bit about you. I told you before we started, it wasn't anything crazy. Okay. So Beth Garrett is reliability solution specialist at, am I pronouncing this right? Life Cycle Engineering?
Yes, at Life Cycle Engineering.
Okay. You got your undergrad in engineering from Vanderbilt?
Correct.
Your graduate, you got a master's degree in international business from Purdue?
Correct. And in Europe, yes.
I knew you're a super volunteer, very active in the community in your church and civic organizations, but these are cool. I'm just highlighting a couple. There was a bunch. I'm not reading them all. Is the National Society for Colonial Dames of America?
Yes, there's nothing like a dame.
That sounds exciting. And in case you didn't know, the British lost the war, okay? And then active in Delta sorority, raising funds for the College of Charleston's house. I'm sure it's amazing.
That's right. Don't know how I got into that, but I can't get it.
I'm gonna pause right there, with just a closing thing that I believe that you were born in Mount Sterling, Kentucky. Is that correct?
That is correct. Very good.
Well, welcome. Thank you very much. And question number one is, what is your favorite business book and why?
This is a really fun question, Robert, because I hadn't thought about these books in a long time, and I really kind of went back to some old classics. So I have two by the same author. And actually, I found a copy in the Garrett library that I pulled up. So one is The 1 Minute Sales Manager, The 1 Minute Salesperson, which is a great book. And the other book that I love is Who Moved My Cheese? So they're both by Spencer Johnson. And I remember reading Who Moved My Cheese and just thinking how great the premise was and how fun the concept was of it. But just that as you go through your career, you need to do things to find new cheese and make your job exciting or extracurricular interests exciting and new and different. And it causes you to change and think about where you are and what you could actually do differently within your career. And then I really like The 1 Minute Salesperson because when I started my career, I was a sales engineer for the train company selling commercial air conditioning. And I was like one of 5 women in the country. There were basically none of us. So it was great that it talks about how it's a person because you're selling to a person, regardless of male or female, it's another person. And how can you, it's not about what you want, it's about helping the other person to get what it is that they want. So I love that concept.
So true. I think that Zig Ziglar has a famous quote that you can get whatever you want as long as you help enough other people get what they want. And I think that's true in life. Question number 2 is, what is the best advice that you've ever received?
So also my first job out of college at Train, I had a great sales manager. He was a wonderful guy, really thoughtful. He, either in an interview or, within that first year of working there, he said to me, Beth, your success in your career is a 3-legged stool. And the 3 legs of your stool are fun, money, and growth. And if you don't have even legs, you'll fall off your stool. So I know the 3-legged stool is a commonly used phrase, but I loved his fun, money, and growth because I think that has proven to be very true for me. If I'm not having fun and not growing, regardless of how much money you make, it's not really worth it, and vice versa.
Good advice. Smart influence early on in your career. Question number 3 is, what is something that you've recently started doing, maybe a new habit, or maybe a new tool that you've recently started using that you found beneficial?
Well, I've recently started using Power BI, and I love it. It's fun. The geek in me is happy with all of these different charts that I can create. So to me, that part is very rewarding. But it helps to visualize the data that you can receive in a way that you can't do in any other format, in my opinion. And so I have a coworker who's just this super, super smart guy, Rich. And Rich said, Beth, you really need to use Power BI. And I think if you took Power BI and you used it for presenting at meetings that I run once a month on how we're doing and what opportunities are out there for life cycle engineering, if you presented that in Power BI, then I think it would become very real and impactful as to what stage all these opportunities that we have were in for the people I work with. And he's really right. And then he uses it to compile this data for our clients, create a dashboard for them, and then passes it back to them once we've created it. So it becomes a super powerful tool for the clients that we work with to be able to look at all the data that they have, in our case about reliability and asset management, and then to be able to visualize it and make decisions on that data that I don't think that they could otherwise. So I found it to be fantastic.
Question number 4 is, what is the best part, your favorite thing at your current life cycle engineering, other than the chief financial officer, who I have heard is amazing?
Well, you do help me out a lot, so I do appreciate you, Robert. I did not, however, indicate that when I went through my answers, so I'm sorry that I did not list you.
Starting to break up. I can barely hear you. Click.
I can't hear you. I think the best part of my job is really kind of goes back to the 1-minute salesperson, is what makes other people happy. So my job is really pairing clients and potential clients with the best subject matter experts that we have, because we have these great people that have years of and wealth of knowledge. So I'm trying to talk to people to understand exactly what their needs are and where their pains are, and then try to pair them with the person that I think might most be able to help them. So really the best part of my job is all those people that I get to interact with. What is it that I can do to help? I really thought about, I spoke to a guy, it's been interesting since the quarantine of talking to all these people and they're working from home. And so one man I spoke to basically told me at the end of the call that he felt obligated to talk to me. And when I sent him an email, and so he said, sure, I'll talk to you. And at the end, he said, oh my goodness, I am so thrilled that I talked to you, because life cycle engineering does all these things that I had no idea that they did before. And I'm thrilled you can really help me, and I'm thrilled that we had this conversation and I took your phone call. So in other words, that was great for me, that I wasn't annoying him, that it actually ended up being something that was beneficial. So that's the best part.
Question number 5. What is something that you would like to, or you are willing to share about yourself that maybe you don't know?
This is hard. I really think that I was raised with my grandparents. So they both had influences on me that were really unique. My grandmother never drove, never needed to drive, was in a small town of Mount Sterling. And so she taught me how to sew, how to do embroidery, all of this handwork, how to cook, those types of things. But at the same time, my grandfather was really, he just owned real estate, and that he managed real estate. So that was what he did. And so he would dump me in an apartment with a paintbrush and a can of quarter paint, because that was from Kentucky, made in Louisville, and say, here, figure it out. And so I can do about anything around the house. I love to tile. I can use a chop saw and a miter saw and run trim. paint anything, tile anything, sew anything, and cook anything. So.
Wow. You are, that is awesome. I didn't know you were that much of a powerhouse. Your husband, like myself, is a very lucky man. Cooking, sewing, tiling, working. Wow. That's awesome. All right. Very cool. I'm glad that I asked that question.
You'll love this. About a year and a half ago, Stuart and I actually tiled the restaurant Barbaritos on James Island. So tile up to 12 feet in the air, hanging out on a piece of scaffolding.
What is something that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you? And what's the answer to that question?
I really think that as much as you are so, you're so good about presenting yourself and what you do, and you talk about life cycle. I think that even though life cycle engineering has been in Charleston since 1974, I don't think that there's a really good base knowledge about what it is LCE does or how we do it. And so part of my job that I find really rewarding and fun is to talk about LCE within the state of South Carolina and really try to promote our talents and skills and how they can help people within South Carolina. So I think, to me, the fact that we've been here so long, that we're a very large company that a lot of people don't know about. So I guess I would say I love it that LC's here. I want people to ask us what we do.
I know it's crazy. I say I'm the chief financial officer at Life Cycle Engineering, and they go, huh, what's that? And I was like, Life Cycle Engineering. And they're like, oh, where's that based out of? I was like, here. And they're like, did you just move here? No, like 40, 50 years we've been here. And we try really hard to, but all of our customers are all over the United States and the world. And we're a stranger in our own village. It's very Jesus New, Yeah.
That's right. But anything asset management or reliability engineering, we got you covered.
Amen, sister. And great job. I learned a lot about you, and I am personally excited about checking out those books. I read one of the books, but I did not read the the 1 Minute Salesperson book. I didn't know that same author who had written some stuff that I like had that book. So I'm going to check that out. Thank you for letting the council learn a little bit more about you, me getting to learn a little bit more about you. And thank you for all these great tips and tricks and the advice that you shared. That was awesome.
Thank you, Robert.
Well, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.
Bye.